the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
Na ukopiemu ewo apsa na enye asemkotwa Dr. Mamudu Bawumia na yura J.A. Kofo First Lady Rebecca Ekufu-Addo enomone NPP amanyekuo no MPC nyina ekukudam ni enintini a ewo nyina eba bepie mu ewo ho a na won ede won support ema Dr. Mamudu Bawumia na then time a Dr. Mamudu Bawumia enyama mekasa na NDC amanyekuo no concern ba kopa a ewo won tiri se Dr. Mamudu Bawumia ede na niso adihunu a owo nyina eba beto abonten a question a won ebebisa na say aden ena wo nimdie we nyina na want to me a implement na watini atena ho na enioma agency mu na eno ena Dr. Mamudu Bawumia ni Dr. Gideon Wako a silence NDC amanyekuo no sameja mfi kote esi edunkete ana wona akaka ho ene ye watini amomo nice reply pa a enya asemkotwa yentie Dr. Gideon Wako.
We didn't hear him admit anything in essence to say, yeah, on this one we made a mistake. He didn't say it, but he's telling us what he'll do differently. Although that in itself tells the story, but he didn't verbalize it. Isn't that important in the credibility that we attach to what he delivered?
Well, first of all, I think we are making a mistake. The fact that you're my boss, you are leading an organization, and we are all following you. You have your vision. And the fact that it is time for me to also espouse my vision to take over from you. And I say things contrary to what you had put in place already. Does not necessarily mean that what you did was wrong. Every leader has his or her own vision. That is why we say a new king, a new law.
Except that it doesn't work like that in politics.
As the vice president said, he premised his vision on something. He said that the circumstances and the things that occasioned certain dreams and visions of the incumbent government will be different from the circumstances that will exist when he becomes president. And therefore, there are some good footprints of this government that is going to continue with. But based on the changes and the circumstances that have come up, he is going to come up with new vision. So if your boss has a vision, and you also come to say that next year, given the opportunity, this is the way I want to go, you are not necessarily saying what he is doing is wrong. It could as well be there are some limitations in terms of implementation, idea-wise, with the vision that is currently on the table. That's fine. But we should not conclude by saying that because Vice President Bawumia is showing some policy departure from what is being done today means there's something wrong. President Kofo had his own vision.
I want to read you.
Golden age of business.
I want to read you. That was said at the beginning of the speech, but I want to read to you the subject on the levy, the way he put it. Quote, to move towards a cashless economy, however, we have to encourage the population to use electronic channels of payment. To accomplish this, there will be no taxes on digital payments under my administration. The e-levy will therefore be abolished. That is absolutely categorical on the
what I'm saying.
What he's not saying here is the current policy is a bad one.
No, that could
because the government
what I'm
agenda,
saying, I just want you to open your mind to two different positions. That is what I'm calling for. I'm not saying it is either or the combination of the two. It can be that I want to take a departure because I see something fundamentally wrong.
Yeah, but that's the question I am asking.
It could as well be that I don't have any problem with it, but where I want to go and the focus I want to have, this is how I want to execute my plan.
So that's the second one, but I'm asking on the
So the vice president feels that yes, President Akufo-Addo had a vision, and in executing that vision, he introduced e-levy. For him, if he's given the opportunity to serve as president, he is going to abolish e-levy. That has nothing to do with whether or not he feels it was wrong or right. He thinks that from next year going, and based on the circumstances and how he envisages the economy running. He doesn't think e-levy will be practical to implement. That will help people. So he's going to abolish that. Not e-levy alone, betting tax, VAT on electricity, and
emissions.
Emission tax. He thinks that he will do
those
away
three
with them.
taxes, he put it in a separate context from e-levy. The e-levy was the most categorical one. Those ones, he says, they're, in essence, there's no fiscal space now. I'm going to put in place policies if I get elected. And those policies, he believes, will create a fiscal space. And when the fiscal space is created, I will then remove 15% of VAT if it's still there. I will take away the emissions levy, and I'll take away the third one, right? So in essence, he's saying, I believe that they are right policies now because there's no fiscal space. That's what he's saying in essence.
So what he's saying is that he believes and he knows a reason was given for the imposition of those levies and taxes. Now, in order to do away with them, he has to deal with the problem that occasioned, the imposition of those taxes. And he is a very far-sighted person. He does not want to just make a sweeping statement, I will do this. He says that, look, there's a problem that is occasioning this today. Given the opportunity, he's going to put A, B, C, D pillars in place to make sure that problem is well anchored, and that will give him the space to do away with these taxes. So he has a dream and a vision to do away with VAT on electricity, to do away with emission tax, to do away with betting tax. But he has to prepare the grounds to make sure that he is not just going to do away with them whilst the problem is existing.
Why hasn't he done that?
No.
Already.
It's not him. Because he is not the president.
He's not the driver's seat.
He is not in the driving seat. He's not the one who calls the show. He's not the one who takes the final decision. He can offer his ideas. And that is where when Doc said that the fact that he says his advisor means that if he advises and it's not taken, he should opt out. First and foremost, the fact that I'm an advisor to you and I'm saying that I'm an advisor, I don't take the final decision, does not mean that I've given you an advice and you never took. Let us not jump into such conclusion.
But if you give the advice?
He's stating the obvious, that look, the role that he was given as vice president, the constitutional limitations are there. But the president also had assigned him a responsibility to be the chairman of the economic management team, which is an advisory role. And that is the truth.
Did he give the advice?
He's there as a vice president. We all even give advice on all of that. So there are so many government policies and projects.
So he did give the advice. He was not listened to.
He had stated his position on e-levy way before e-levy was implemented. Remember in 2020 before the election, he stated his position.
But then he stated his position on e-levy. Implemented. And the question
exactly. So contrary to his position,
e-levy, of which is
e-levy,
the number 2, so went ahead and implemented
because the Ghanaian people have entrusted their authority and sovereignty in the hands of the president. Bawumia is not the one who went for elections. So at best, and like all of us do, as I sit here, I can only advise Bawumia on certain things. If I do and he doesn't take, it does not mean I had a superior opinion to what he is proposing.
But you must have the courage of your convictions to say, well, if you're not taking, I don't want to be part of this.
No. I mean, it is not fair to make that. You are with multimedia. It is not every decision that multimedia has taken that you have supported in the boardroom.
Yeah, but if I feel passionately about it,
when there's a collective decision, and it's to be executed, all of us, Prof is an academic, we are academics, we sit in the academic board meetings, we take decisions as scholars. It's not everything that you support. But you look at the larger interests, and it cannot be that you think that your idea should always reign supreme. You are not the only person sitting in cabinet. So you are Bawumia. If you say something, and the entirety of cabinet decide that this one we have to go this way, then you say I'm checking now. How? You have to be there. If you have something good to offer, be there in the ethical way and offer what you think you can do better. But when others' ideas supersede override what you are proposing, don't think that you are the repository of knowledge and therefore when you say something it should be sacrosanct and must be accepted that way. The vice president does not believe in that. He doesn't believe his ideas are sacrosanct. So if there are anything that comes up and he has to proffer solutions, he has to proffer advice, he writes and gives recommendations. if those recommendations are taken. And there are a lot of things that he has also proposed and suggested which have been taken. There are others which he has suggested which have not been taken, but that's normal with human life. You cannot have your way all the time. But when those in charge and the majority of the people around feel that this is the way we go, you may have your own view. The best you can do is to support it. But when you are given the opportunity like he is seeking today, then he can tell you that given the opportunity, this is the path I will take. It doesn't mean that the person who took the other decision was absolutely wrong. There may be a justification for that. So that is the context within which you have to look at. Other than that, you all say that when you have argument with your wife in the house and you don't agree, then you have to leave the marriage. It doesn't happen like that. You have to stay and do the good things that you can do. You understand? That is the way I think we have to go.
Yeah, Doc, I hear you saying something.
Hello?
Yeah.
I think Dr. Buako has taken the conversation to another level. The issue is that, look, there are advices.
I have direct communication with him. Of course, I work on this speech with him. I understand. So I don't know whether it's, the president agrees to this or he doesn't.
But it stands to reason, does it not, that if he's going to be this categorical in creating a distance, a conversation would have been had at some point.
I don't know. It is possible. I know Bawumia. He's a very humble and loyal servant.
But he must have consulted quite broadly before this.
Bawumia is a very loyal subordinate, very humble and a respectful one. So judging by his character and nature, I would be surprised if he decided to say something that more or less differs from a position taken by the president, and he wouldn't consult the president. That is my own intuition. Naturally, I know him and I've worked with him. He consults a lot. Even me as a subordinate, he will barely do something of this nature without seeking opinion from those of us around him. But I also know that he is very much attached to his convictions. You know, there are so many things that happen that people don't know behind the scenes. But Vice President Bawumia has taken a lot of policy decisions that I would tell you from the beginning didn't have the buy-in of government. You understand? But some of them he pushed. I can tell you one is there's drones. When you pursue the action to, get drones into the country and all of that, you needed to get health ministry, this and this to align. It's not everybody who, from the beginning, will align with you because you need to even explain, because some of these technological terms, adaptations are a bit slow on the part of some people. But he needed to push. I remember Sino Hydro, infrastructure for bauxite. It was a whole big deal. But he had to navigate his way through. And because he builds consensus and he knows how to engage people, sometimes he's able to get his position to go through. So it could be that whatever ideas he put out today and whatever position he put out today, he may have discussed with some other colleagues in government or the president. It could as well be that he feels that, these are my vision and my ideas. I'm the new flag bearer. But of course, he's going to work with people and the party. It could as well be that the general secretary, the national party are all aligned with him. Once he's the leader of the party and he comes with a position, the simple assumption that anybody will make is that it is the entire NPP that supports this. And I don't see anybody in government or in the party who will take a position different from what
the finance minister is a very key figure in all this. Was he at the speech today?
No, the finance minister was not. The minister of state for finance, Anta was there. I'm sure the finance minister is not around. The president himself is not in town. All the deputy finance ministers were there, including the minister of state, but the finance minister himself was not there. So the whole finance ministry was also there too.
Yeah, and today he said something quite extractive, and for us, that's what we read between the lines. He was acknowledging the work that two institutions have done, including himself. He acknowledged the work that the central bank had done, the finance minister had done, and then he also says what he had done.
Exactly.
And why was that important? I just have a few seconds to wrap up.
No, sometimes I think there's a lot of misunderstanding in the minds of a lot of people as to the roles that are played by, certain government, agencies or individuals within government. And this whole thing about EMT has come up. But do you even know that we have cabinet subcommittee on the economy? That one is even there, also there, and it's chaired by another minister. In fact, when it's chaired by the trade minister. Now, that subcommittee on the economy, the vice president is not even part of it. You understand? Okay. And that is why he says that EMT is an advisory where he needed to officially, people don't understand, because EMT is a creation of the president. It's not constitutional. It's not in any books. President Kufuor had his own version of it. President Mills never had an EMT. Mahama never had an EMT. The President Mills had an advisory or something. President Kufuor decided to call his team economic management team. If you go to cabinet, there's also the cabinet subcommittee on the economy. In fact, all memoranda to cabinet are sponsored by a sector minister.
I don't know time on this.
So he needed to put it into context.
Commencement of his campaign.
Oh yeah, the campaign has begun, and I am happy that he's begun his campaign on the note of issues and policy. You understand? You know, sometimes people will begin campaign and it's a train of tantrums and all of that. But Vice President Bawumia, based on his past experience, feels that we need to debate on issues. And like he said, what he's offering himself for, it's like going for a job interview. He needs to account for what he has done, his previous stewardship, and then show. And I'm so excited that we have begun on such a good note, and we carry that from there.
Great to have you. Great to have you on the show today. Dr. Asasante, thanks you for having you join us. One of the things we need to also, I believe, analyze with you, and definitely we'll be doing this tomorrow, is the significance of having the former president, Kufuor, there. You know, and speaking. It's been quite a while since he was in himself in present for a party event. He was there today. I mean, how significant was that he was there, but the incumbent wasn't there? How much you read into that? We just run out of time. Don't worry. This is something that we'll have a conversation. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Reading some of his books and fantastic idea.